I think the most important thing we should talk about is the geopolitical crisis.
The US dollar and the UK pound sterling will never fail. I'm sitting there going, I'm stunned the pound sterling's still alive.
And we know that all wars are bankers' wars. So they're obviously trying to push us into conflict. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Black Swan Capitalist YouTube channel, where we bring you up-to-date information and unique perspectives on trends in finance, digital assets, economics, and geopolitics. Today, we have a very special guest. We're humbled to be joined by Gary Cardone, an expert in financial markets, wealth preservation, digital assets, with a lifelong entrepreneurial spirit. Gary Cardone, thanks for joining us today. It's an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, guys. Good to be here.
Yeah, really appreciate it. You want to go ahead, Verson, and start?
Yes. I think the most important thing we should talk about is the geopolitical crisis and the tensions that are rising in the Middle East. Everything seems to be heating up. And I think what we saw this weekend was really a staged false flag event to the highest possible order between Iran and Israel. We saw the markets even price it in before the news was sold to the public. And then we saw massive liquidation in the stock market and crypto markets. So obviously this is no accident, but what's even more alarming is just the state of the US economy and the financial system in general. And we know that all wars are bankers' wars. So they're obviously trying to push us into conflict, whether it's just to inflate and issue more debt, because there's no better excuse than war to inflate. But they are also gradually shifting us into a new digital cross-border settlement system. So there's a huge gap between what the public is being told and what might be going on really behind closed doors. So Gary, the first question is really, what do you think is driving this agenda or narrative behind everything?
I think, my view is that we should be asking what they're not showing us that they're using this theater to disguise. Look, when I heard about the drone attack, I think there's a tweet out there. I'm like, hey, last time I did work with trying to invade an enemy, the last thing I did, if I really wanted to create a lot of pain, was to tell them I was coming. Hey, by the way, I'll be at your front door in 10 hours with a, submachine gun to tear your face off. It's like, really? I was like, blasé. Not one of those missiles are going to make it. Like, once you have 4 hours, come on. There was very little damage done. I just think this is more theater to polarize people. They have done, and I'll just throw everybody under the bus. It's every politician, and it's every voter who stopped using their brain and started using their criticism, their judgment, and their hypocrisy to look at our presidents and now hold them to a level of what's the word for it? Social behavior, and then we're comparing them against other global leaders, but not comparing the same social requirements on that leader. So we're asking for someone with really nice manners to lead the greatest country in the world, at least to date. Be Mr. Nicey. He can't use any bad language. And I just would encourage everyone to look around at the world leaders. None of them are Mr. Vanilla Ice, right? I mean, like, these people don't get to that position without burning bridges, burning the past, burning up history, and I'm just exhausted with the bullshit, quite frankly. And that's really what has led me to Bitcoin, because you may say that it's flawed in some ways, but it's a hell of a lot less flawed than what we have right now. The system that we have right now is absolutely breaking apart. And if you can't see that, and it doesn't terrify you and then make you angry, I don't know what to do for you. I see people voting for people who want us to go to war. And like Elizabeth Warren, not Elizabeth Warren, Nikki Haley, that she made that this far. I'm stunned. I mean, I was on a space last night and people talking about the Republican Party. I said, what fucking Republican Party? There's no Republican Party. I'm not a part of the Republican Party, the Biden Party, the Democratic Party, or the Libertarian Party. I am part of a group of people who want freedom. I'm tired of paying this much for my freedom. The rules keep being changed. And the only reason I'm actually doing all of this right now socially is that someone has to stand up and say, stop this. Okay, this is ridiculous. Like I'm going to be fine. We have a depression, I will be fine. We have a war, I'm probably going to be fine. We have a world war, I'll probably be fine if we don't go nuclear. Like it's going to be hard to really take my shit away from me. But man, there's a lot of people getting hammered. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. And I don't think anybody wants war. Like Americans do not want war. That we don't do. We have no appetite for this. I am this close to saying, hey, I'm just not paying my taxes anymore. I mean, I'm making a payment today and it really sticks in my throat. And it's not because I'm a very generous human being. I will fund a government, I'll fund a charity, I'll fund whatever, quite liberally, if you know how to use the money. But if you're going to like then go buy weapons and say you're not launching QE again, and you then buy those weapons to replace your weapons, then you give your old weapons to Germany, and then Germany gives their old weapons to Turkey, and then Turkey gives their old weapons to Spain, and Spain gives their whoever, however they're doing all this shit, right? It's just a Ponzi scheme.
100%.
The crude oil sanctions. I mean, all you've done is India is the big winner. They're buying crude oil for $30 cheaper than the market because of these embargoes. And, we got all these maniacs all over spaces talking about BRICS and all this. It's like, dude, the reason BRICS is lighting up is because our government continues to put false sanctions that have never worked in thousands of years. They don't work. Okay. And so we're the problem. I think I'm going to just claim it. America is the instigator. We're sticking our nose in too much business. And that shows me that we're a bit of a parasite that's just almost out of control. Right? Like these parasites, they go so violent, they actually start destroying the host.
Yeah, drunk on power.
Yeah, well, drunk on probably everything. So, and that's why I think Bitcoin comes at a really, really, really interesting time. That it floors me how people don't see this as an olive branch and treat it like an olive branch. Instead, they go, oh, this is a weird thing. It's like, this is very timely, right? If this would have come out in 1990, we wouldn't have done this. I mean, we wouldn't be ready. We are ready now for Bitcoin to really make its move, and other probably digital assets to make its move, to show how messed up our planet is, really.
100%. Can I say something, Gary, on what you said? So for anybody watching, they need to realize this. What you said is 100% spot on about wars and the different parties out there, the politicians. So all bankers' wars are, all the wars are bankers' wars, really. And, our enemies, they're not 7,000 miles away from us, from home. They're the CEOs, the bankers, the hedge funds. They're sitting in boardrooms, and really our enemies are right here. That's the truth, and on this shift taking place, the currency is dying. The financial system is crumbling very slowly. It's actually happening fast, but people think it's happening slowly. And there's only two ways out of this. One, to create a more hyperinflationary environment, which means just creating more money. Or the second option is defaulting on their debt and just collapse the whole economy. I think they're just going to keep printing money for as long as they can. until the collapse happens. And I think they have a solution already to the problem. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I'm not sure they already have a solution to the problem. I think people give these people way too much credit, dude.
Good point.
Just because you're a sociopath does not mean you're very intelligent.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't like sociopaths always overplay their game.
Very
Like
good.
if you guys all and people that are listening to this, if you really think that these governments and people are as bad as we're saying they are, you should study sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists as it's a topic because they behave a certain way. If you're negotiating or debating or fighting with these people, you do want to know the enemy. And my path, this whole LGBTQ, XYZ, yellow, green, whatever acronym we're going to end up settling on, my view has been, hey, let's not stop these people. Let's promote these people to continue to show their underwear. Okay. Like literally, let me see. Like, they won't stop, dude. It will never be
True.
enough. So you just let them go, dude. Ads, like I love to fish big game. And when you got a really big fish on line, sometimes you just give more line and you just let them go, dude. You go, just tire your ass out. In fact, let me stick a camera on you and show you how brilliant you are 24/7. They will do their own damage, okay? Because they don't know when to stop. I mean, they literally have no conscience as to what they're doing. So it's happening right now. Like the pendulum, in engineering terms, I'm not a genius, but one thing I know is that when that pendulum swings all the way over here, dude, unless you stop it, it is going all the way back. And I think we're going all the way back right now. People are starting to go, hey, fuck you and your views about being a halfway girl at 13 years old. We're not buying it. Okay. Nah. But we're in that weird spot, right? Where people are waking up. And I think it really just requires us to now wake up and say, we're not buying that stuff. I like you. It's cool. My kids do not need to know if my children, if their teachers are married or single. Like
I'm with you.
Dude, there was no knowledge whether my teachers were married or single. It was none of my business.
Yeah, it's their personal life. Absolutely.
Right now, everybody, all my kids know what everyone's sexual preference is, whether they're married, who they're married to. It's none of a child's business. And I don't understand why the teachers think it's their business to bring it in. My children are not there to do psychological balancing for the fucking teachers and the principals.
I agree.
I say that to the class, the school that my kids go to. I'm saying it to you and everybody else, dude. And if you want to kick my kids out of the private school, kick them out. Give me my money back. I'll find another place to put them. But it's really like y'all have to have your voice, man.
Yeah.
This
is a divide and conquer strategy, I believe, to polarize us while they're having us look here and they're doing something else. And if we could switch the subject a little bit to this digital infrastructure, because this is where it's all going. This new digital system, my brother and I were heavily invested in very select few technologies that we believe have solidified their position for this new system. And one of them is called RippleNet. This technology uses a digital asset called XRP as a cross-border bridge currency, a liquidity provider between all fiat currencies and tokenized assets. And again, this is where it's all going. It's going digital, and tangible assets are backing this new monetary system. My brother and I, we really assess the best performing technologies based on use case, and we look at return on investment when we consider the unsustainable debt, all the friction in our financial system. And if I may expand a little more, Ripple has associations with the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of International Settlements, the World Bank, payment providers worldwide, central banks, and major financial institutions. It appears that Ripple's payment protocol, and that's really what the technology is being integrated onto all the payment rails to facilitate the movement of digital value. So what we believe it's going to play a big role in where all of this is going. So I'm just curious really what your thoughts are, and if you can expand on what Ripple is doing, your thoughts on that, and the role of XRP on, let's say, the global stage.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm not an XRP Ripple expert. I know very, very, very little about it. In the consistent transparency that I attempt to offer here, I do own some XRP. I will also say it is not meaningful. Like if it went to zero, it would not impact me whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I literally bought XRP as a call option that the institutional payment system will want to use rails they're familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be a benefactor. I
Yeah.
will tell you, and this is probably all I'm going to say on XRP. If I look at the chart, it sucks. The chart is ugly. It's not good. And if you look at Bitcoin versus the XRP chart, you don't buy XRP.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I have a monster position in Bitcoin. I have a extremely tiny position in XRP. I can't even remember what it is. It's maybe 50,000 XRP, 20 grand. I mean, it's nothing. Like to me, I could flip a coin with you for that right now. And I'm not saying that to be, rude, but it's not.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I need a little juice on something for me to even pay attention to it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also, in fairness, I own some miners, about probably $1 million worth of miners. They are all grossly underperforming. I own Dogecoin, about 20 grand's worth of Dogecoin, and that was a call option on Elon. And I've said to people before, I'm like, bro, Doge isn't a token for me. It's a call option on Elon, and it's the cheapest call option I could buy. I can't buy a call option on X that's cheap, or Space, or Tesla. But for Doge, is like, I'm able to buy Doge at 7 cents. I'll pick up, 50,000 of those and just see what happens. So I would not call myself a Bitcoin maxi. I don't like the whole maxi thing, but I am Bitcoin first. Like I need Bitcoin coming out of my pores and my ears, every orifice I have. And then once that's done, I can then think about making some allocations to XRP or some real estate or whatever it may be.
Right.
So that's my view on XRP. It may be fine. I don't know. They've done a lot of work. So has Ethereum. Okay. And I'm not convinced Ethereum is going to make it. So I'll remind everyone, okay, like I hate being first.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're first to the show means nothing, man. I can
Absolutely
name you dozens of companies that were first and you haven't used their name. IBM. You haven't thought of fucking IBM in like a year and a half, man. They're not even a part of the party anymore. Right? Like that's a big deal, man. I would have told you IBM wouldn't even be a relevant player. You'd be like, huh? 10 years ago, I said that, you'd have been like, no way, dude.
Well, you know what's interesting, Gary? So the crypto market, we got these 4-year cycles, right? Every 4 years, you get a bull run. Crypto markets appreciate in value, prices. Now, the crypto market is a secular trending market. So it's driven by societal structural changes in the economy, society, but it's mostly driven by liquidity coming into the market. That's why we get those bull runs at the 3 and 4 year cycle. And it happens like clockwork every 4 years. And that's driven by liquidity. Now, the interesting thing is this. I think in the future, these technologies, digital assets, because we're moving into a digital world where blockchain will be a part of everything, kind of like how the internet is a part of everything now. It's just a matter of time. And I think the crypto market and these digital assets, the prices, they're driven by liquidity now. But in the future, I think they're going to be driven by mostly utility and real world use case. So when we look at these assets, for example, I know Bitcoin absolutely, based on my analysis and my brother's, it's going to pump so hard this bull run. It's going to appreciate in value. We think it's going over 100,000, and that's from that's our analysis based on liquidity that will come back into the market, drive the price up. But we think there's a lot of digital assets that have real utility for the real world, not store of value, but utility and use case for moving value, instant settlements, the future of the monetary system. And those digital assets, one of them is XRP, we believe, and there's a handful of others, but those are going to be here in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years and appreciate in value as the network grows and more money comes onto the network and flows through it. But yeah, that's what we think. We think there's a lot of crypto assets that are kind of hidden gems, and they don't want you to pay attention to it. They want you to focus on and spotlight some other assets. For example, even Bitcoin. Even though it is going to pump, it's going to make people a lot of money if you're holding on to it. But we think there are some other ones out there that they don't want people to be paying attention to. What do you think about that?
I think you may be more of a conspiratorial have a conspiratorial viewpoint than me. I go back to these guys. These people are not. In order for they to not want us looking at certain things, that would mean that these people are collaborating in a very cooperative, assertive, overt manner. And I just don't, they don't work with each other well, dude. They don't work with anyone. It's not just you and me. They don't like anyone. Mm-hmm. So these are not going to be people that if you've ever worked in an organization, you found the guy that one guy that wanted all the data and he would manage all the data around all the staff. That's one of the indicators of one of these narcissistic fuck offs. They tend to suck all the data in, and then they manage how they parcel that data out. They're normally a number 2 or number 3 guy, and they're working the whole system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just don't think these people are as clever or coordinated as you may think they are. They most certainly haven't done a very good job of stopping Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. Well, what's interesting? Just to play devil's advocate, because we even poke holes in our own logic just to make sure we're going in the right direction. But after the 2008 housing crisis, the financial crisis, it's interesting because right after that, in 2009, that's when Bitcoin was created. But here's the interesting thing. In 2009, all governments around the world reset the interest rate to near zero. And ever since 2009, when Bitcoin was created and interest rates were reset to zero, we've had these 4-year cycles where there's a 4 years and then a bull run, 4 years and then a bull run. And every time we have the bull run, when you layer the charts with the liquidity being pumped into the system, they are the same time frames for the 4-year cycles when we have a bull run, the same time frames when the interest rates are being refinanced in the economy and they issue more debt. So systemic. It's super interesting. And that's not conspiracy. That's actually data right there. I layered the charts. I looked at them. And every time we have a 4-year bull run, it's the same time the debt is getting refinanced in the system. So I think that's one of the main drivers of the crypto bull runs, besides the Bitcoin halving, which happens every 4 years. And trust me, Gary, 100% data and factual, not conspiracy right there. But that leads me to believe that there's some other activities going on. And we find these digital assets in documents that you can't really find them unless you really read through 100, 200 pages, documents from the IMF, the BIS, the World Bank, the list goes on. And they're very particular with the assets they talk about, the cryptos. and they talk about their use cases. And when I said earlier, I think they have a solution to the problem. Well, I don't give them credit like they're the smartest people in the world, but they know that the monetary system is dying. I think they know that because it's designed to do that if you keep issuing debt and printing money. So they know that's coming. They know it's around the corner. So if they know it's around the corner, then they must have some solution. And that's where I thought about the CBDCs. I know it's a lot, but that's how I'm looking at it.
Look, I think that payments and the payment rails are very, very most people don't really understand how the payment rails work and who is relevant and who is not.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people that are inside the whole value chain between the consumer and the merchant, first stop is consumer has to have an issuing bank and the merchant has to have an acquiring bank. And then guess who they get to deal with next? Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. By the way, there's only 2 banks in that whole value chain. The rest of them are vendors. MasterCard, Visa are vendors. No different than all the little software as service that I've built in my life. Like they're a vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they make a 51 and a 46% net operating margin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Incredible.
Hey, these companies were developed in 1952. It took them 52 years, dude, to get 7 credit cards, 7 forms of payment in your wallet. And this thing about CBDCs, guys, please pull out all the cash you have in your pockets right now. Okay, I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. Okay, does anybody have any cash in their pocket besides me? Okay, you're already CBDC, dude. Like you're already a digital client.
Oh, we know they have control already. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. So see, I don't understand the hysteria because you're already like I have been in MasterCard's offices that are bigger than my freaking home, and they have TV panels that are 50-foot panels showing the exact transactions that are occurring on 5th and Park Avenue at the 7-Eleven.
It's all tracked already. Yeah, we're kind of already there.
So tracked, it's ridiculous, right? So I think we're already there. That's it. So I don't really get the whole, hey, we're all, quite frankly, I actually like 108 different CBDCs being formed because then we'll have government competition, game theory for any crypto asset. For Bitcoin, the game theory for Bitcoin for me is massively important. Massively important. This liquidity thing you talk about, it's going to be very, very interesting to see if you're correct, because I think we're getting ready to get into a cycle. When I came into Bitcoin, everyone told me that Bitcoin does well when interest rates are low. And I'm like, dude, Bitcoin's going to do well when interest rates are high. Bitcoin's going to do well when interest rates are low. Bitcoin's going to do well, extremely well in war. You fade this freaking $5,000 downfall in this bullshit war that they're doing, because they're going to just do another war. Okay, if they can't net whatever the guy's name is, to throw a nuke over there or something, they'll do it somewhere else. Okay, they'll go. They being the United States of America, dude. We are literally doing our NATO. Okay, NATO's like the only reason the European Union's together is 4 letters, dude. NATO. The whole European Union was put together by NATO in the first place. It had nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's just nobody.
Like you said it's theater. A lot of it is theater. It's a clown show. It really is. Somebody I listened to, Gerald Salente, he talks a lot about this. Real quick, if we can actually shift the conversation to central bank digital currencies, also known as citizen behavioral disciplinary currencies. I hope that's not conspiracy, that part. I know there are a lot of concerns about privacy, individual freedoms, liberty. And if I may also expand, we saw Trump make a statement that CBDCs would never happen if he were president, and that they were just as dangerous as artificial intelligence. but we still actively see countries pursuing the development of CBDCs. So it actually begs the question, are CBDCs going to become a reality? But in my view, I do think it is an unstoppable force at this point, because not just the lack of transparency, but the fact that there are too many people still in the dark. And that's why my brother and I, we teach people how to mitigate the impact of a CBDC by investing in tangible assets like gold and silver, real estate if you can, or the technologies like we talked about with Ripple, building the infrastructure for this new system.
I think a little bit like the ETFs, I'm a big believer in letting other people do the heavy lifting. The ETF is going to bring in a marketing program that Bitcoin has never had. Bitcoin's that it's at 65,000 with the absolute, and I'd probably throw XRP in this too, except I can't really because there's probably better marketing on XRP, but the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, that we're at $1.3 trillion in market cap, to me is stunning.
Mm-hmm.
The hellaciously bad marketing that we've had for 15 years. And I don't know if you've seen the TD Ameritrade advertisement that just popped out, but that will be the marketing for Bitcoin, dude. Look it up. Oh, it's on my Twitter thing.
I'm going to take a look.
I think they say 4 or 5 words. The rest of it are pictures, and is every maxi should have just kept their mouth shut when talking to a new player, because it's like it's cost me $1 billion, man. Cost me $1 billion because the people that were pitching me Bitcoin couldn't contain the rest of the crowd. And so I got so many messages like, I'm not going to invest $20 million into this space. This is a rookie hour. That's gone now. Okay. And I look at it and go, wow, that we're at 1.3 trillion with this marketing program. You have an unlimited budget now. Okay. They will throw hundreds. Think of every soccer match. Go watch a freaking World Cup, and you're going to see, and just look, where is Visa's footprint? Where is MasterCard's footprint? Dude, they take prime area, your eyeballs, Visa, MasterCard everywhere. Hundreds of millions of dollars that they get to charge off against those fees that they collect. Imagine Bitcoin, Coinbase, Fidelity, BlackRock just pounding you at every NMA, every football game. I'm not talking about stadiums and everything, just pounding you with information, right, on Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Bringing it into the 21st century, I think that gathers up all other assets, right? That has to be a very buoyant, current behind the digital asset industry. As to XRP or Solana or whoever, that must be good for them, these guys. I think at the end of the day, they're going to have to perform and show their value, as you say, their utility value. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, someone has to make money. Okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Buy these tokens and shill it off to you and me, hoping the token goes up in value. At some point, I think an XRP will be judged against a firm like FIS, Fiserv, WorldPay, Visa, MasterCard. And if I'm you and I'm really that long on XRP, I would go study how well the payment companies have done, because they're getting slaughtered.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably why they sued them.
Slaughtered, dude. They're getting absolute slaughtered. They did so many mergers in the last 6 years, and they all failed. I mean, WorldPay and their primary parent, they just did a $13 billion write-off, man, from all the mergers they did in the prior 4 or 5 years. It just didn't work. You know why they didn't work? Because there aren't any new customers, man. Customers are declining because people are dying, and merchants are declining.
Yeah.
Merchants are literally declining. They can't stay in business because the fees related to transacting in retail with all the rights the consumer has, refunds, chargebacks. I mean, go ask the Hut Group in the United Kingdom. Every time they sell 4 T-shirts, they expect 3 back. Dude, you can't stay in business doing that without raising your prices by $20 on every t-shirt. There is no business. Like you shark the shit out of that company, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to shark the shit out of the payment companies because what are they doing? They're not even taking any payments, man. They're not insuring the payment. They're literally just making it's like a tollway. And in the energy business, you're not allowed to do that in the energy business because of guys like me. We went to the government and we said, hey man, there's capacity on that pipeline. Okay. Exxon is producing energy right here. They took all the pipeline capacity out, but they don't use it all. And you got DuPont on the end of here burning the energy from Exxon. Open the damn pipes up and let Gary Cardone transport at a rate that's reasonable, a free market rate. If there's 10 units of capacity on that pipe, I should be able to bid for it. And if it's not being used, dude, sell it for a penny. It's a penny more than you had, right? So I think this is the same way we're going to look at open access. You should have open access to choose who you want to participate with, who you want to transact with. And merchants and consumers should be able to choose, not be forced into monopoly and duopoly constructs, and they have zero choice. I'll give you one example, okay? Dating, pornography, gaming, gambling, these have legal merchant category codes. In certain states, they are legal to do. Why does Visa and MasterCard charge 300% more for a legal transaction called pornography or dating relative to selling some fruit? Why? Like, how do you, that's almost like, okay, if I'm driving a Ferrari on the same highway that you're driving a Ferrari on, you're driving a truck on, I get to pay more. I didn't create a problem. Yeah, but you created some brand problems. We don't really like Ferraris making a lot of noise. Is it legal or not? You shouldn't be able to charge more. This market, the global market is so screwed up, man. Like we are coming to a transparent moment, and everyone is going to be able to look in and go, whoa, India's buying crude oil for $30 cheaper than the entire planet because of an embargo, because of a sanction by an idiot. Okay. Then we went through pipelines up. Then we blew a dam up that nobody's talking about. I mean, the amount of terror this country has been involved in the last, look, I'm going to get canceled sooner or later. I'm going to get canceled, but it's so obvious to me that, you know, some guys in Scotland did not fly out to the Ukraine, get on a rowboat, light a cigarette, and two pipes blew up. That didn't happen.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
It was a false flag event.
Right. Coordinated, inside job.
Coordinated, but we don't have to go down that route. So Gary,
I'll tell you something. It's very, very important because see, to me, all these CBDCs you're worried about, good luck. Dude. They don't even know. What are you going to do? Trap every citizen you have in every country? As long as they're competing with each other, they're going to eat each other.
I get it.
Okay. As long as we're strong, they will not come after me. They won't. I have no, bring it. Okay. You're going to have to plant information on me to send me to prison. I don't do anything wrong. I pay my taxes, even though I hate it. But I think these people are going to eat each other. And your job and my job is to help educate more people, get everybody like, okay, cool. You love the XRP. Just make sure you're right, dude. Because I know I'm right. I'm right on this trade. Okay. And I don't need to be greedy about it because I'm more interested in being really, really, really powerful and strong. So when the guy comes knocking on my door that wants some of my stuff, I can push back on him. Right.
Can I ask you something, Gary, about Bitcoin? So do you see it as more a return on investment? Is that your priority there? Or do you see it as, okay, this allows me to kind of be outside the system kind of thing, you know?
I don't see it as outside the system because I don't think there is an outside the system.
I agree.
Right.
Well, anything connected to the internet is essentially part of the system, whether it's Web 3.0 or what we have today.
Well, dude, do you have a social security number?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Sold on the stock market.
Yep.
Like, your mom had to sign up a birth certificate. What are we all worried about? Okay. You're tracked already. You're traced already.
Exactly. Yeah.
They know everything you're doing. Every time you've gone into an adult store, they know like they know it all already. I don't get why everybody's freaked out. I have this thing now to answer your question. I could literally take all my money, call Grant up and go, hey, Grant, I want a better deal. Let's go buy 14 apartment buildings, which they're getting priced correctly right now. Like right now, you could buy a lot of property. I already have property. Okay. And the problem with property is that I got to hold it for like 8 to 12 years. It's a long hold. It's a very illiquid asset that pays me distributions. And the good news is I trust my brother and I have the same deal he would give you, whether you're investing 1,000 and I'm doing 10 million. But I have Bitcoin now, and Bitcoin offers me a liquidity play. One of you guys mentioned liquidity. Like
I agree with you. Yeah.
this asset, there is no asset that's more liquid than Bitcoin, except for this right here.
Cash. Yep.
Always have
Assuming that
cash.
you and I have a proximity. Right now we have a proximity problem. But if we were 10 feet within each other, this shit is the most powerful, most liquid currency in the world. As soon as we create about 150 feet, dude, Bitcoin's the most liquid asset on planet Earth. And there
Yeah.
may be some other coins that are also liquid, but I'm not worried about, like, I know when I do a transaction in Bitcoin, it's done. I may not like the price. And that's what's happening right now. That is why I love Bitcoin.
Right.
Because I love the volatility, because it allows me to go, hey, there's going to be events on weekends. There's going to be people working at publications that launch bullshit stories just to move the price around. That's what happens in markets like this. So set your bids in 62,000. You're probably going to get hit in the next 2 or 3 days.
Right. I wanted to ask you about gold. We saw gold hit a new all-time high.
It's something that has value, but money, I think about like easy to be able to easy transact. I mean, I have gold and silver, dude.
Yeah, like liquid, you mean?
It's not even very liquid because even
Right.
if our proximity is close, it's heavy, dude. Shit's
Yeah,
heavy.
you can't carry that shit around.
1,000 ounces in my garage right now. I mean, literally made it from 50 feet from my bathroom vault to the garage. The price went up $1. I went, don't put it in the truck. I'm gonna see what happens. And it's gone up $3. But getting rid of this shit, like people that have, I mean, think of it, 23,000 ounces.
That's a lot, right? You can't
Well,
carry that.
you say it's a lot, dude, but I bought it. It was like only 200 grand.
We see it as an insurance policy, you know. It's been around for over 5,000 years. It's risen in value, you know. So, I mean, kind of maintained its value and risen over time. So it's like an insurance policy, you know. You don't plan on selling it unless you really need to.
Just beg the question why central banks are buying up all the gold and China too. What do you think that's about?
Gold and silver are telling us we're going to war.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's why they're buying gold and silver. We're going to war. Like we are going to war, guys. And we're going to war because you guys aren't saying, hey, we don't want to go to war. Like you should write a letter to your congressman every day. No, 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 and start voting for the right people. And like, I don't know why people would bitch about some guy with red hair. Dude, he's got hair. Okay. Like he can, I mean, I don't care. And if Biden was in good shape and he could actually communicate one message consistently, and I didn't think he was a total criminal, like whatever. I just don't want the war because I can do well without other people getting hurt.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Bitcoin. It's not a net sum zero game. Literally, we can all win. So to back to your question on I will predict that this year we will have a top 10 country put Bitcoin on its balance sheet, in its treasury, and probably announce it. Okay. One of the top 10, a Turkey, maybe they're not a top 10, but not if it's a more El Salvador's, there'll be 3 or 4 more El Salvador's. I don't think the El Salvador thing is that big of a deal. But you get a Turkey, you get an Iran, Iraq. Iran, Iraq are never going to tell us. Russia is already the third largest Bitcoin miner. What, you think they're not sticking it on their balance sheet? I mean, we fucking stupid. Of course
Right.
they are.
Interesting.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? You just blew up 2 pipelines.
Yeah, true.
They're gonna be sitting. Hey, all that gas sitting behind the pipe. Guess what it had to do? It had to move through that pipe, and it paid a fee to move through that pipe all the way to Germany. So guess what? It's just gonna sit here back in the Siberian tundra at 30 degrees and below. And hey, let's pop up some data centers. You know what the price of this natural gas is? 15 cents, dude. 20 cents, 30 cents. It blows the doors off of US natural gas fracking. Our natural gas is priced at 187. When I started my career, it was $7.86, dude. And it's 187 20 years later. And it's increased by 12x the volume. All that infrastructure in the United States was done on 30-day contracts. It didn't even require multi-year contracts, bonds, all this crap that we go through. It was built on the back of a market working properly.
Right.
And so our government is so busy, like playing this multiple chessboard that's been in play for years. I think we've lost the plot here, man. You're literally starting to push on constructs. Like, do you notice all the constructs that have been developed over the last 50 years, they're all falling apart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's actually quite obvious now if you pay attention.
Yeah. These aren't legal. These are just agreements to do certain things.
Right.
But like, hey, you can't buy natural gas from the enemy. Well, Germany's sitting there going, dude, where else am I going to get it? Okay, like they're the cheapest supply. Oh, buy it from me. I'm the United States of America. France is doing a $600 million deal with Russia right now. They're a part of NATO. Like, whoa, you're buying natural gas for years from Russia, but you're part of NATO? Whoa, wait. What? How do we do that? What happens when Spain and Italy do it? So the constructs, the literal agreements that we all made back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, they're all falling apart, dude. The whole Kissinger, Nixon thing, the petrodollar construct.
Yeah, falling apart. Yeah.
But it's not, the timing is not coincidental when they're trying to also roll out, again, the CBDC or what new system. And sometimes maybe a crisis like war is to not just bury the crimes, but also introduce this new system to bring it about. Problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't be doing any of this if people weren't complaining about that the system's really fucked up. The timing of the ETFs are relevant. And I don't think that they probably discussed, hey, let's do this in 2 years. And the bankers and the really smart guys, look, there's some really smart guys been looking at Bitcoin and other digital assets, and they're not government people. Okay. They're people
Definitely.
like me. They're, BlackRock's been looking at this 6 years. Dude, they took all their time, I can assure you, to really think. 6 years they've been looking at this, okay, at every angle. They did not want to launch and look like idiots, but they also didn't want to launch in the middle of the post-halving, and then have a bad performance, right? It's not like they don't have the same charts you have. So someone pushed this through. It's now happening. It is irreversible at this point. Hong Kong today has approved the ETF on both Ether and Bitcoin. When we start trading, like, people are now going, well, Hong Kong is not that big. Dude, that's all you. Hong Kong just fucking approved an ETF on Ethereum and Bitcoin. And we're now talking, well, is this in kind or in cash? And you're saying, well, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Hey, any new demand is a fucking big deal, because this planet, and this is my only complain about all the other coins, dude, including the US dollar. You can't make any more Bitcoin. Like, that is my core belief. This is the only finite supply of anything this planet's ever seen. We've never seen a finite supply of anything. Supply and demand, economics 101 that we're all taught, supply and demand, it actually doesn't even make any sense. Okay. Because you and I were sitting there in economics 101 class going, supply and demand have finite limits. Therefore, this should speak to each other. But what did we learn? Oh, yeah, this should work, except you guys keep changing the inputs. The only input they ever change is the freaking money, because you can't change demand.
Do you think this transition is going to widen the wealth gap?
It's definitely, well, the gap's going to widen. Middle class is being wiped out.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I think, if you look at it as a vampire event, there's no more blood you can take out of the bottom 20%. Right? There's no more blood. So if you're a vampire, where do you go? You're going to come target me? Fuck me. You don't want to fuck with me. They're going to go target the next biggest poor group, right? That $70,000 to $300,000 bracket. 70 grand, man. I don't know how you're living. I got to tell you, I would have a come to Jesus meeting as soon as you saw my face. I'd go into the bathroom and go, hey, I'm only making 70 grand. And Gary Cardone tells me I am going to get buried. You got to figure out how to, triple that number. And I'm not saying that like everybody needs to be rich, but you can't live at 70 grand with this type of inflation. Cannot do it.
And the crazy thing is the inflation is going to get worse because we already know they're going to print more money, issue more debt, and the poor get poorer because they own dollars, and the people that own assets just get richer because asset prices go up. So yeah, people really need to start thinking about that because it's not going to change. It's just going to get worse for people that have no assets, really,
See, and then people think, okay, well, I hear that, and so my investment's going to be a home. I'm like, dude, that should be your investment. Okay, don't go buy a home as an investment. The women go crazy, right? When you tell them that, but it's like, it's not a good investment. Owning a home is a horrible investment. It's not an investment. You're owning a home, and that half of your net worth would be tied into a home is bizarre because it's not an investment. If it was an investment and the freaking price went up 100%, you'd sell the home.
Yeah. Then it'd be an asset because it'd be paying you.
Exactly. In
that case.
You rent it out. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know that it's going to get, it will get wider. But I think the wealth transfer is happening right now. And if you're ahead of the game, like, when you were a kid, you were just do the seesaw.
Yeah.
I know the seesaw is getting ready to go. I have to do everything I possibly can to get as far up here as possible, man. I want to be at the very edge of this thing because it's moving. Like, it's very unstable right now. If you're an oil producer, ExxonMobil, they don't make the top 10.
Yeah, you're right.
You're going up, dude. Hey, who's the biggest oil company in the world? ExxonMobil, man. Exxon. They don't make the top 10. It's countries now. The dynamics of our marketplace have massively changed. We're dealing with sovereign wealth now. Saudi Aramco's 3 times the size of ExxonMobil.
Yeah.
You don't even need to make money. They could mine Bitcoin and stick it on their balance sheet and just sit it there. They don't have to make a margin. Why? They already have crude oil on their balance sheet, gold, silver, gasoline, diesel. They got tons of commodities on their balance sheet. They'll take Bitcoin all day long because it's a byproduct of their energy.
You mentioned this recently that there might not be an election in the US. Has that perspective changed?
Well, let's see. Yeah, I think I said that first on Kitco with Michelle McCory. Seemed to draw a lot of eyeballs. Kitco's pretty good publication, and I mean, I think they got quadruple what they normally get. And I'm not a clickbaiter at all. I don't actually like it. I get into arguments with my brother about, when do you move into clickbait? When did you just push over the line? So, uh, look, I don't think that we're going to have an election. We just have had a slew, 4 different events in rivers in our country where magically large boats are losing their instrumentation and bumping into bridges. And not
Yeah.
just,
Mhm.
but these are like that bridge in Baltimore is second or third most strategic flow of assets to and from America. Now, if you guys think, that's just kind of like, last time I was on a barge, the lights don't go out. You don't lose all your power right next to a bridge. And it's happened 4 times in the last 2 weeks, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, it's planned out. They're
That's a
doing
cyber
something.
attack. These are cyber attacks. I mean,
Yeah.
you think the Biden administration wants to come out and go, "Hey, we're having cyber attacks every day."
Do you-
Okay, what AT&T went down, like
Mhm.
that's not a cyber attack. This shit used to not happen on a regular basis.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that,
So
yeah.
what if there's cyber attacks every day and we're having a lot of it. We're having warfare at a very different level today than we've had.
You
Uh,
you know what's interesting, Gary? We've had the borders open for like 3 years and just illegals coming in and all this stuff. And what's interesting is just the other day, the FBI announced that there could be a potential uh, threat. Of course, we point fingers at every different demographic. You know how the game is, okay? This is tradecraft at its finest. But
yeah,
we
I
could,
think they're happening right now. I mean, remember Biden came out within 3 days of the Baltimore incident and said, "Hey, the federal government's going to pay for the whole thing."
yeah,
What happened to the insurance company? Government 3 days after the Baltimore incident going, "Hey, we're going to cover it." Now, is it because Baltimore's so poorly run that they can't even keep a fucking yacht from running into a barge from running into a bridge? Are they so incompetent or are they evil? Because it's got to be one. You're either so incompetent, you should be like thrown out of the office. And if the federal government has to show up and go, "Oh my God, Baltimore fucked this up so bad, they can't even pay for it." Dude, I don't want my tax dollar. Where's the insurance company?
yeah.
That's what you have insurance for.
Hmm.
Right.
So we're just violating every basic rule everywhere.
Do you think
You're right.
we have we're in this crisis to crisis situation ever since way before the pandemic, but it accelerated around 2020. Crisis to crisis situation, is that so that they can fabricate liquidity and make the system look more solvent than it really is?
Because it's directly disconnected from the real world.
And it's connected to what they do with the debt market too. So,
Yeah, look, I just would like to remind you that does not have to be repaid.
okay.
See,
That
you and
makes
I
sense.
think you have a note to me and you're going, "Hey, I don't want to be on Gary's bad side. I'm gonna pay him back." Like, or maybe, "Hey, my mom taught me, hey, I pay back my bills." There is no requirement for the US government to pay back anyone. They can just extend the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They can just say, "Hey, we're going to issue a trade." I predict that the EU through Brussels and Germany will launch a $7 trillion bond, call it the nuclear uh, revolution bond, super green for Europe, since they've had all their energy fossil fuel ripped out from under their feet. They'll go build a bunch of nukes and get a 40, $30 trillion bond issued 50 years. And everybody's going to be, "Oh, isn't that awesome? Europe's going to be great." Yeah, dude, that's $30 trillion of new money being printed out of thin air.
Yeah.
Okay. And you called it a bond for nuclear. Imagine the ramifications in 10 years of Europe not needing any fossil fuel whatsoever.
Yeah. I can
Fucking
imagine.
Geopolitical shift.
Okay. Like this is what's happening though. Literally the whole geopolitical, we are now having micro markets and people are competing with each other because we decided we can't globalize. Globalization is not good. We're not
I
going to
got
do
Mark.
it. We're going to compete. You're going to
Well,
have markets competing with each other.
well, Gary, on the election thing, what you said, it will not, you think it won't take place. So can you elaborate more on that real quick before we wrap it up? Do you think there would be an interference, like a coordinated one, kind of like how they did in 2020?
I think that they don't want Trump to make it to the front door. And
Gotcha.
if it gets past all of these lawsuits, which are, look, if they were treating you like this, if they were treating Biden like this, I would say, hey, that's totally uncool. Okay.
Mhm.
In fact, they're doing just the opposite. I mean, we have enough information about what the Biden family with Hunter has done. You know, it deserves some kind of investigation. Okay. I'm not saying the guy did it. I don't have the data, but boy, there's a lot of news there. Okay. It's as much news as you have on P. Diddy. Like,
That's true.
come
Yeah.
on. Like P. Diddy, I don't know who P. Diddy is. Kind of makes sense that, you know, people that create a bunch of music with the F bomb and girls being naked all the time and, you know, black people calling each other the N word and making it all cool. Maybe they're just sick as fuck, right? But like
They are.
like, it's probably worth an investigation at this point.
Mhm.
It's just a lot of noise. I went through an investigation with the FTC. I spent $7 million and I was okay with it, but it's like, hey, you know, can you guys be fair about this? Because tell me what the damages are. And if I did something really wrong, you should be sending me to prison. Okay. What the game has become is, hey, here's a fine, Google, for 2.3 billion. And Google's like, how quickly can I write it? Okay.
Yeah.
I just got a blessing for another 10 years. Dude, these fines should be related to stopping. It shouldn't be, oh, here, pay a fine so that you can now survive another 5 years with your
For
little monopoly.
for them, it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. So what can you and your audience do? You like if I would be studying history. Okay. I like if you're 35 years old and you're in the workforce and you're only making 70 grand or 210 grand, dude, you should be like doubling down and going, hey, what game am I in? Because you haven't even figured out the game you're in. You're a piece on the monopoly board, and literally you're being moved around, and you think you're making conscious moves. You're not. So you have to study the game you're in. You don't have to get all like, you know, conspiratorial. You can just look at the facts. Like I'm never scared about this stuff. I don't get over emotional about it. I'm Mr. Chilly Willy. There's no sense in me getting my you know knickers in a twist. What I need to do is I need to figure out, hey, how can I become more causal over what's happening? And one of the things you got to go vote, and not it's just not about voting in November. It's voting with your credit cards.
With your money.
Pay off all debt, dude. Quit giving these people 12, 15, 17%. You don't need anything as bad as paying 12 and 8%. You don't, okay? Like if you can't buy a house, I disagree with Grant all the time. I'm like, bro, if you didn't have the Ponzi scheme where I could borrow 70% of the dollars to buy a house, the housing market would implode.
100%. Yeah.
It lets me buy 70% more of Bitcoin. You imagine if I could go get a mortgage to buy Bitcoin, what Bitcoin would be priced at today?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
What would it be priced at, boys? Because it'd be fucking awesome. Okay. I just
Yeah.
spent
Significantly higher, that much. For
Way,
sure.
yes, definitely higher. And I still think it's going to go way higher this bull cycle.
Y'all think my money's heavy? My money's bullshit compared to the money that's getting ready to walk through the door. Okay.
That's
This money is very sticky too. It's not leaving. This is the other thing. The other asset classes are not going to be destroyed. I totally disagree with everyone that says we're going to suck money from all the old assets. Why do you have that? In order for me to win, everybody else has to lose. What if I'm right, and there's 60 million millionaires. There's 406,000 ultra wealthy players, and they've all maxed out their consumption. They've all maxed out their investment. Every rich guy I know already has too much real estate, too much stock, too much bonds, too many boats, too many villas, too many Rolex watches. I can't use another airplane. I don't need any more pilots. I don't need any more prostitutes. Oh, wow, I don't own any Bitcoin. I think I'll take $100 million worth. Now, you guys look at that, God damn, $100 million. Yeah, dude, it's an airplane. There's 6,000 airplanes sold all the time, right? Brand new airplanes. These people, my brother will buy another $60 million airplane because he can.
Right.
And it's got a tax write-off. If you don't think these people are not going to go in there, I'll take 1,000 Bitcoin. Sure. And dude, they're not selling. And just one thing, it layers extremely well on top of their other asset. This is what my brother's finally figuring out. I'm like, bro, you don't understand. Okay. You take the distributions from your real estate and you buy Bitcoin, bro. You become an analog Bitcoin miner and you'll destroy CleanSpark, Marathon, Riot, and everyone. It's the cheapest way to buy Bitcoin. It's the fastest and least capital intensive way to generate Bitcoin, which is fiat mining. Go to work, clean somebody's window shield, then take that $20 and buy Bitcoin and keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And that's what's going to happen. The uber wealthy don't need to sell anything.
Yeah.
These are allocations.
Yeah. And the crypto space in general, the crypto market, crypto assets, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, it's the best performing risk adjusted reward asset class out there. And that's a fact, and the insiders, they realize this. That's why they're going to continue to allocate large percentages of their portfolio towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general and digital assets. They know that.
Just so that you're not putting words in my mouth.
No, not at all.
I do not believe the money that you and I are talking about right now is going to put their money into the whole asset class. They're coming to two of these assets and they're going to do one with size.
Bitcoin, right?
Oh, totally. Like I think we need to start looking at this and going, look, there's Bitcoin and then there's everything else.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And the super wealthy don't need to take the XRP risk. No offense. They don't need to take the Dogecoin risk.
Yeah.
Their first allocation will be through the ETF. And I'm very pro ETF because, I've had Bitcoiners go, hey, we don't want them in the ETF, dude. We don't want them in Coinbase. I'm like, bro, I want them anywhere they can get it, dude. Why would you stop them? They need to study Bitcoin white paper. I'm like, bro, the guy wants to deploy $2 million. He's either going to do it into a fucking piece of real estate tomorrow morning, or I'm trying to talk him off the ledge to go into Bitcoin. I do not need him studying the shit out of this thing. What I need him to do is get invested with me, trust me just a little bit. Hey, take a wedge, smack it into Bitcoin. Now he's got a position. Now I give him the white paper. Now I buy him dinner. Then we talk. Then he's got an investment and he has an interest in learning instead of, hey, you need to go study something. It irritates these billionaires. They're like, fuck, I ain't studying shit, dude.
Yeah, they want to keep it simple, keep it simple.
Yeah. And then the simple way to do it is, hey, aren't you gross allocated to everything else? Okay. And so I don't mean to disagree with you. I just don't think
I know what you mean.
This money, dude, this money is it's going to be $100 million wedges, man.
Yeah.
I can see what my brother's doing right now. Like he right now, he's like, shit. He was laughing at me at 30 grand. Shit, price can't even hold 30 G's. I'm like, bro, you need to hold on. Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what you need to do. That's our business model, buy and hold.
And then you can study history. See, buy Bitcoin, go create some more fiat, buy some more Bitcoin, buy a book on Bitcoin, buy a book on history, buy a book on Keynesian economics, Austrian economics, the history of every other currency. 1,000 people in a room last night, and me and a guy from England, Simon Dixon, we're talking about pound sterling. I said, hey, you guys understand, right? The pound sterling is the oldest currency in the world.
Mhm.
There's silence on 1,000 people. I don't think
They
people
get
understand.
quiet.
Okay, the US dollar is the oldest, second oldest currency in the world. Well, these people are challenging me and Simon that the US dollar and the UK pound sterling will never fail. I'm sitting there going, I'm stunned the pound sterling's still alive. Okay. Like
Right.
stunned.
Every
That is,
currency fails at some point. They have life cycles.
well, that's when you say, hey, what United States is the second oldest currency. You could hear a pin drop in these 1,000 people because they're like, how can that be, dude? We're a fairly young country. Exactly. The ruble is like number 4, and
Yeah.
it's one of the best performing currencies in the world today. Look, we've been hypothecating money for a long time, right? So I don't know that we've been doing it on steroids, Adderall, and LSD the way we've been doing it recently. And we're going to do it again, right? Like
Exactly.
I would like Trump to get into office. And the reason I would like Trump to get into office because I have no interest in war. None. And I think that we need somebody that doesn't care about the following 4 years. He needs to go in there and just rip the Band-Aid off. We have some true criminals and psychopaths inside the US government that are fucking up our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and we need somebody to go in there and yank it out from under them. That is not going to be pleasant. It's going to be ugly. Okay?
Right. They won't go without a fight.
We've turned into an organized crime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we have in Washington. Let's be honest. Crime. So
Yeah.
the only way you break that open, I mean, this is the good news. You have all of New York failing. You have California failing. Like it's really failing now, right? You have all of Hollywood. We are getting ready to wake up, gentlemen. Find that many of the characters that you and I have labeled as heroes are evil.
Evil.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like sick
At
people.
their core, dude. Like I can't even come up with a better word. They have offended children. Okay. You watch this kid, Bieber.
Yeah.
The
he's gonna
singer.
break.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber. He's gonna break. Okay. And one of these kids, you only need 2 or 3 of them to come out and go, dude, let me tell you what my life's been like. And so I think I just go back to all the constructs that we have developed over the last 150 years. They're all failing because they
Right.
were designed to trap us.
It's a reset.
It's a reset, but you guys are going to have to grow some fucking cojones, dude.
Yeah.
It's your generation that scares me. Like
Yeah.
y'all have to get like I see you guys aren't willing to like, hey, fuck, that's bullshit, dude, to your buddies. And I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the people that are listening to you guys. And I'm saying, hey, go outside, get a fucking tan, grow some cojones, man. Look around at the crew that you're with. See, these are the problems. If I'm hanging out with a crew of people and I've got 2 little limp dicks over here that, I know they're voting for the wrong guy or they're not even voting. They're not participating in progressing our world. I need to cut them loose, dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you're an enemy, bro. Hey, stay away from me. Okay. Like, I don't want you in my space. You're my enemy. I'm going to take your space up. I'm going to pay someone else to be in my club. And because I want my message to be bigger, more powerful, and not confused with some antichrist sitting in there going, well, debt's not really a problem. And I mean, debt's really not a problem if it's priced right.
You have a very unique perspective to everything, Gary. And it's been
Yeah.
such an enlightening conversation for real.
Like, just because you're a nitwit doesn't mean that you can't become a non-nitwit. Okay. I'm not saying you're stuck in that, but you have to understand that there's stuff you just don't understand.
Definitely.
And I'm always asking myself, hey, what don't I understand about this? How could I be wrong about XRP? How could I be wrong about Bitcoin? And I love that healthy debate.
Me too.
I think it makes me a better person, and I get more convicted. The more I'm like, wow, that guy couldn't shake me either, huh? Think I'll buy some more.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely make a good point. Well, Gary, man, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate your insight, your perspectives, and all the knowledge and wisdom you dropped on us. I bet the viewers are going to really appreciate this. Hopefully, maybe we could do this again in the future. Any last words before we wrap it up for the viewers?
Oh, look, you guys call me up when you discover I'm wrong. Call me up and I'll do a show the next day.
You got it.
Look,
We'll definitely be in
trying
touch.
to be right. I'm not trying to be right or wrong, but I think if you look at this from, scan out about 2 miles, it becomes pretty clear what's happening. So tremendous opportunity for everybody that's listening. And there's millions of jobs here, man. There are you do not just need to own Bitcoin. There are millions of jobs that are going to be deployed, and you don't need a college education for it. Like, that's the cool thing. This is
That's
a
true.
whole new industry that allows people to develop entire careers in a very early stage, in my opinion.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, actually. It's a new world.
Thanks,
Lots
guys.
of
Appreciate it.
opportunity.
Have a great week, okay?
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Gary.
Gary, we'll talk soon. Have a good day, brother.
Thank you.